We've got a lot to talk about.
He literally files court docs to say, I can no longer go without my check monthly, okay? Now, he getting dragged so bad on social media, said everybody would, after he just recently announced that he was gonna be doing and telling his side, then she gonna continue to have problems. He works them white folks that's got hands in her bank account. You stole her money and you gave it to a hoe. The one you loved, okay?
At this point, we can all agree that Kevin would do everything just to bring Wendy Williams down. But what is it with this guy that is seemingly obsessed with Wendy? If you think that we've already talked about everything that we can about this past couple, then you're wrong. Ever since the start of Kevin and Wendy's relationship, fans have been on lookout for Kevin to make mistakes. I mean, these people knew that Kevin is up to no good and he was just in it for the money. These people already knew that something was up with him, yet Wendy still stayed with him. She stayed with him even though she knew about his affairs and she was aware that he was a serial cheater. Well, all along her fans were actually right about their perception of Kevin. He was actually just a gold digger trying to take credit for Wendy's success when we all know that she was pretty established even before he entered the picture. One thing that made a lot of people wonder is the fact that Wendy knew about Sharina and Kevin and she just allowed these two to betray her. What is worse is that they were also using her money for their own extravagant lifestyle. So what could have possibly happened? Because of this, Wendy's fans were led to believe that there is actually manipulation that happened. These rumors are not new, as many sources have come forward to talk about this as well.
Where do you see Wendy going from here?
We're gonna keep talking about Wendy.
That's the last question.
We cannot deny the fact that although Wendy was already dealing with Graves' disease, Kevin played a huge role in ruining Wendy's life. Let us start with her illness, as we've already mentioned it anyway. People started worrying about Wendy's health when she suddenly passed out during one of her tapings for a show. She dismissed this by saying that she was just probably dehydrated and that the studio was very hot, but she later on revealed that she's battling with Graves' disease already. From there, she was seen in a lot of public appearances where she was having a hard time walking on her own. She was obviously struggling, and she's always been talking about her condition since then. She was still together with Kevin when she found out about this, but at the same time, she was not only having a hard time with her physical health, as she was also struggling from alcohol dependence. She openly talked about this as well. Many were even shocked when she did. She explained on her show that she has been in a sober house and no one else knew about it except Kevin. Kevin was the only person who could have helped her go through her substance abuse. But guess what? He did nothing to make her better and instead took advantage of this chance to shower Sharina, his mistress, with Wendy's money. Come on, what kind of person does that? Anyway, Wendy and Kevin's son even talked about this. It was also revealed that Kevin was actually the one pushing Wendy to work even though she already needs to take a rest. One source even claimed that Kevin was very controlling of Wendy, which reached a point where Wendy does not even have friends and has no constant communication with her own family. That is all because Kevin was insecure. Additionally, he must be worried that Wendy's family would tell her to stop giving money to Kevin. Of course, Kevin could not afford to lose Wendy since she is the one who brings money in the family. But before we get deeper into the video, if you love Wendy Williams and want to be updated about the latest happenings in her life, then make sure that you subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet.
Whomever else is in the talk show game and doing what they gotta do. And I'm gonna say this with pride and passion. And my ex, Wendy Williams, and the team that was behind us. And I mean the whole team. That includes my current lady now.
And our son's in Miami. So I have to be calm on the phone with him, you know, like a loving mother. I have to be happy on the TV every morning live from New York.
Now, going back to our video, as I've mentioned earlier, Wendy knew about Kevin and Sharina. Imagine she let it pass and endured Kevin's betrayal for more than 10 years. Yep, you've heard that right. Kevin and Sharina's affair has been going on for 15 years before Wendy finally decided to call it quits. Wendy finally decided to leave Kevin when she found out that Sharina was already pregnant. For her, the affair was one thing, but a baby is a whole different conversation. When Wendy filed for divorce, she immediately had Kevin fired as a producer in the Wendy Williams show. Since then, Kevin never worked again as he was completely reliant on the alimony that Wendy sent him. Anyway, when Wendy unraveled the truth about Sharina and Kevin's child, she had a relapse and she was rushed to the hospital. She could have made real progress if Kevin did not do that to her. Since she was in a very vulnerable state dealing with her alcoholism, illness, and the divorce process, fans believe that Kevin took this opportunity to once again control her. I mean, if she was in the right state, she would not possibly agree to pay Kevin a huge amount of alimony. But Kevin and Sharina were both very greedy. They were both opportunists and are always after Wendy's money. Wendy's health really declined because of this, but it did not end there. Since her health was at risk, she had to take a break and rest. Because of this, she was unable to film for her show and different hosts had to take her position on her own show. This eventually led to the cancellation of the show, and the time slot of her show was already given to another host. Of course, this must be sad news for her, knowing that she gained so much influence and fans through that show. Fans were also sad about that news, but maybe it was for the better. Actually, the situation is proven to be on Wendy's side in the end. This became her key to finally stop giving Kevin and Sharina the satisfaction of spending her money. As we all know by now, Wendy was no longer sending alimony to Kevin. Of course, Kevin was unhappy when this happened and immediately filed a case against Wendy. He claimed that Wendy breached their divorce settlement agreement. But before we get into that, let us first talk about another problem that Wendy had to deal with because of her physical and mental health issues. Remember that Kevin might not have caused her to have Graves' disease, but he did not do anything to help her recover from her disease and alcoholism. He turned a blind eye because he was obviously benefiting from Wendy's problems. Since Wendy is not really in her best state, her bank decided to deny her access to her own account. Wells Fargo stated that they have the grounds to believe that Wendy is not of sound mind to make any financial decisions. It must have been hard to not have access to your own money.
Please let me have access to my money. This is not right. And again, this is not fair. Lori Schiller and Wells Fargo have this guardianship petition about keeping me away from my money. This is not right. And you know this is not fair.
Because of this, Wendy needed to have a financial guardian. Actually, she still has a financial guardian until now. All throughout the time when Wendy was very sick and she was not having as many public appearances as she used to, Kevin was always trying to claim that he was behind her success. I mean, this dude should really get over himself. Remember when he was interviewed for a podcast? He called himself as the king behind the purple chair of power. We all know that he was referencing to the popular chair that Wendy used in the Wendy Williams show. He was the producer of the show, yes, but does he really think that he could be that if not for Wendy's influence? People knew about him because of Wendy in the first place. He is irrelevant without her, and we only continue to talk about him because he keeps on associating Wendy to his drama. Do you think that Kevin would soon leave Wendy alone and stop forcing her to give him money? I would love to know your thoughts, so comment them down below. Anyway, instead of being considerate of Wendy, Kevin still pursued the case, hoping that Wendy would continue giving him alimony. Come on, she obviously has a lot on her plate, and yet Kevin is adding another problem to her life once again. He claimed that he is behind on most of his bills and that he would soon lose his home if Wendy continued to not give him alimony. Additionally, he hired new high-value lawyers in the hopes he would win the case and that Wendy would end up paying for his attorney fees. Luckily, none of that happened as the judge recently released a decision about the case. The judge dismissed Kevin's request for Wendy to continue giving him alimony. His request for Wendy to pay his attorney fees was also dismissed. If before he was only acting like he was broke, then now there is a big possibility that it will come true. This guy should start looking for a job if he wants to keep Sharina by his side. Rumors about Sharina leaving him started to circulate when he lost the case. We all know that's possible. Sharina obviously would not want anything to do with him if he can no longer give her everything that she wants. Well, I guess this is karma working its magic and finally catching up to Kevin for everything that he did to Wendy. He already spent so much of her money when they were still married. He even used Wendy's money to spoil Sharina with luxury bags, jewelry, and tons of designer items. He even bought her a house using Wendy's money. That is why it is so outrageous of him to still ask for Wendy's money, because the whole world knows how he ruined Wendy and their marriage. Now that Wendy is slowly getting back on her feet, Kevin is still trying to extort more money from her. Even though the judge has already dismissed his request, Kevin can still take his case to mediation, so expect that this drama will just keep on dragging on for longer than it should be. One thing's for sure though, Kevin had damaged Wendy so much that he should stop giving her any problems if he still has the honor to at least man up. Thanks for watching, don't forget to check out these videos.